I'm ready to start my assembly. I've got a couple of small things that I need to do. One is to lay out for the foot position. That means this is going to go in the center of this foot piece, and then the triangles will go on the outside of there. To get the center, instead of deducting anything, just put your post on there and find out what measurement you got. I've got 14.5, so I come in 7.25 from here. That means my post goes this side. Square that line across the two pieces. That way they're exactly the same. Take your post across there like that, and that will give you the exact position of the posts in the piece. I'm going to square the lines onto the edges here just so that I can center this when I put it on, because I want to be able to see it when I put the post in position. So just square those onto the edges. They won't be seen, these pencil lines, when we're done, because the gusset will cover it like that. And what I'm going to do first, I'm going to drill my holes in here, and I'm going to stagger them slightly like this and like this. Just eyeball the position. It doesn't have to be exact. This is not exactly science. Same on this one. There I am. Am I going to countersink? I may as well, because it seats the screw. So countersink the underside of the foot. Like that. Gets rid of the fuzzy bits. Gives a nice seat for the screw. There's my screw, and I am going to glue these. Now the rest of my gussets I'm probably not going to glue. You can glue them, and that will make it quite a lot stronger, but I may want to take mine apart, disassemble them and store them, so I'm leaving mine unglued for now at least. So there is my leg. This is going to go onto those two lines like this. So I'm going to put some glue on the underside of here. That will stop any movement. I don't have to worry too much about that. This goes on here. And I got some longer screws, some 3-inch long screws to go into this. Just let that glue settle and grab a little bit. And once I've got these positioned, I can drive the screws. And hopefully it won't move. I don't believe it did much. This twisted, that's all. Great. You can put this on the floor in your garage when you're making yours. I'm doing this just so you can see it. Let them seat like that, and then we can apply the gussets. Make sure you get the right one. Long screws. This is a great project really for anybody just starting out too, because you have all these square cuts you've got to do. You can square cut them with a handsaw, practice, use the knife wall method, whatever. Whatever you need to practice is worth practicing whenever you get the opportunity. Seize the day. If you do get movement, you can, I've got a little bit of movement there. So I'm going to, this is slightly under here, so I'm going to tap this side and that will level it. And if I need to check it for twist, if I've gone slightly off my line, relocate it with the scientific method, which is your big hammer. There you go. So I'm ready for this now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start assembly. And I've got to pick the right pieces. These are my angles for the corners, which is at the top edge here. And I'm not ready for that yet. I want to secure these into place now. So this is going to go here. To eliminate any real measuring, all you need to do is take a pencil and find the middle line here like this. Flip over, do the same on the other side. If you want to check yourself, come from the opposite face and you'll find if you're dead on or not. This is where I said you could glue these if you want to. This center point is going to go on this line here. So I think it's important to line that up, get this equidistant at the bottom with your fingertips, and then you can drive your screws. I'm using 2-inch screws. These won't come through on this plane, but they may come through on another. When we get to that, I'll explain it if I remember. This goes here. And I'm going to sight this, but what I'm going to check for now is I'm going to take my square, put it on this inside face here, in here, to see how square I am. I'm slightly out of square, so I'm going to pull. Now that's not going to do it, but I'm going to screw that second screw into the upright. Nearly did my chisel trick there. And then I'm going to work out which direction I want to go, because I can still move this. So in other words, I have to pull this way down here and drive my screws. My pencil did it for me. So I'm going to pull this until I'm square. And now I've got to do the same on the opposite side. Wrong one, I keep going to the wrong one. Like this. Eyeball your center. So that's my first leg post ready. Now I've got to do the other one and I'll be ready for the overall assembly. I just want to show you how I get the position for the posts going to the cross rail at the top. What I've done is kept it so simple. From the end of here I made it 2.5 inches. So you can use one of your posts and then position the second position like this. What I've also done, I'm going to use, this is my cross rail that goes at the lower end of the trestle. So I put this on that second mark and mark the position of the next post. This guarantees that I'm parallel, and then I make my next line here. So those are the positions for my posts on the underside of this top rail, top cross rail. Like this and this. And you can, I'm going to just make a little mark here, just so I can see this when I'm screwing my top rail into the top of the post. Now I'm using 3-inch screws and they're only going through 2.5 inches, but I'm not using this for strength. I'm doing this purely because that gives a locator when I put this together, when I put my gussets on, I'm not struggling. So I'm going to put a hole here. Need a little extra length there. Now my wood is fairly soft. I don't really technically need to countersink, but I will do. Why? It's not what you make, it's how you make it, and we're looking for quality here. So this tells me this is the top edge. Seating the screw, all of those things come into play here. And there's my leg. Let me move these out a little bit. Put this leg. So you can see how these are going to go now. This is in line again with this face. So I'm going to put a little blob of glue on the top. This glue doesn't have very much holding capacity. So if I did ever need to take this apart, this glue would not be sufficient to prevent me, and it wouldn't split anything. So I'm going to that little mark I made on the outside there. Drop my screw in. So it does hold and it does pull, but like I said, I'm not relying on that. The gussets are where the real strength in this is. Well, those pulled very nicely. Flip around, and now I'm getting more and more steady, more confident, because the piece I'm working on is more steady. It's getting a little substance to it now. Great. Now we're going to put this here, and we're going to apply the gussets to each side. What I want to do first, though, I want to check to see if this is square. The thing about using the cross member to get the distance is that it's perfectly parallel. Now I'm slightly out of square, but only by about 1/16 on that one, and a bit more on that one. So if I put my cross rail in, this probably will not fit by that much. So when I put this in place, like this, that spreads it, and that most likely will have pushed this somewhere near square, which it did. That one's perfect. So the other one must be perfect because we're perfectly parallel. So I'm ready, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that in place while I put these gussets on here. And this is just a question of lining it up with the outer edges and leaving it just maybe a 32nd of an inch back from the edge, just a hair. The hair is a scientific measurement. These screws are likely to come through. I'm using 2-inch screws, and the very tip of it is likely to come through. But it doesn't matter because it's only the tip. When I put the gusset on the other side, it will sink into the back side of that gusset. Don't you love this? The simplicity is very nice. And inside an hour and a half, 2 hours, you've made your saw trestle. And you're ready to start working on your bench, which is why I've put these together, because I'm making a bench, you're going to be making a bench, we're all making benches all over the world, hopefully. This will get us in the zone, bring a little bit of stability into our lives. I think you can see now how this is going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the measurement off this sawhorse. I want the measurement to the top because I want this one to be the same, because I may use that under level to put a rail across for when I'm storing. So this one is 12 inches below, that one's 13, so I need to go up a little bit on each side till I'm level. A little bit more. And then I can put this lower gusset on as well. So simple, so simple. And all with hand tools too. All my crosscuts were made with hand tools. That's what I love about my work, is I don't have to run to a piece of power equipment. This again, we're going to do this. We're going to find the middle of this rail. It's 2.5, so it's 1 1/4. Make a line just to give us that center point. And we're going to put the screws in. Already, and actually, if you just did this on one side, it would be strong enough for most work. You wouldn't really have a problem. It's plenty strong enough. But I'm going to suggest you put it on both sides because it equals out the pressure on the joint line, which is what we're engineering. Imagine this isn't a whole lot different than how they put aeroplanes together at one time. So goes along here. All the gussets are the same size. Very solid, very solid. This feels very solid now. As I said, if you wanted to glue this, you certainly can, and there would be no problem with that. So flip over, and I should just see those dimples from the ends of the screws coming through. They're just barely through. And the reason they came through is because I countersunk it. So middle for diddle in here, and middle for diddle here. That came from when I was a boy. My mentoring craftsman, George, always used to say, middle for diddle. We're on our way here. We're ready to start making a bench. Ooh. Oh, that wasn't very good, was it? My line's up here and I'm down here. Trust your eyesight, everybody. This is Paul in his mass production mode. Wrong screw. Getting ready for some fast driving. And here we go. Hang on. A little bit of a shift there. Two more. Two more. And we're good to go. The advantage of those little pinpoints protruding through is your piece of wood is locked in place, but stops it from slipping. No, it didn't. I've left the screws slightly down from the top, the gussets slightly down from the edges so that they don't catch above the surface. We have one more piece of wood to go on here. And we're done with this thing. I hope this really helps you as you progress in your projects in the future. Get one of these, two of these. They come in pairs. The nice thing is you didn't really do anything but buy some pieces of wood. That's what I love about it. Back to real DIY. Love it, love it, love it. All right, there they are. One pair of trestles. I've got one little bit to do next. I've got to put this cap on here. What this cap is for, it's removable. You want this to be removable. What this does is when you're sawing with a skill saw, with a hand saw or something, and you start cutting into here, eventually this becomes a sacrificial piece. And so we can get rid of that, put another piece on, and it won't affect the main superstructure of this. So we're going to take 3 screws, and 2-inch are long enough for this, just along the middle, like this. 1, 2, and 3. And you can measure if you want to, but I'm going this way, I'm going this way. And the middle one is probably right. No, we're 18 inches, so that's there. Drill a couple of holes, countersink them, and I countersink these well down just in case I do catch anything with the saw. I'm going to go quite deeply with my countersink so that the screws are set well below the surface. Just because it does make a big difference if you, I mean, you just really don't want to have a catch your saws. We're done with this. So it's very fast. I'm going to countersink the underside. Well, oh no, I'm not. No, it's pretty good. No need to. So this goes here, centered over there. Should be flush with the outside or near flush with your gussets. 3 screws. That's perfect. What did I hit? I hit the screw underneath. So what I'm going to do, back that screw out. I've got, do I have a longer one? No. What I'm going to do is, I'll just take the screw and show you what we do when that happens. Instead of trying to hit dead on, just try going at an angle. Let's see how we do. That did it. So it went on the other side of the screw head. Quick solution, bad mistake. There you go. There it is. I'm very happy with those. I think you'll enjoy them.